Jeb's omniverse, yeah, vast creative realm where light rises to meet the darkness. In this issue of Jeeb's omniverse, Silver Sun shines within, a champion of hope battling an empire of evil seeking to snuff out every ray of hope. The Silver Sun, the Rising Light. Episode 1. The legend of Silver Sun, ancient evils, stalk the land, threatening to plunge the world into darkness eternal. But a champion will rise, one whose light cannot be extinguished. High above the clouds, within the hidden temple of Romantis, a young man named Luke is undergoing mysterious trials. Imbued with strange powers by the alchemists of the Order, Luke has mastered control over light itself. Donning a gleaming silver suit of armor, Luke takes the name Silver Sun and flies forth from Romantis for the first time. He has been chosen to battle the minions of darkness and uphold truth and justice across the realm. Below, a vast kingdom lies nestled within mountain peaks, its tall towers aglow with lanterns against the coming night. But far from the kingdom's gates, villagers cower in fear, for the maleficent sorcerer Blackout is spreading his pall of shadows. Silver Sun swoops down from the sky, light radiating from his outstretched hands to banish the creeping darkness. Blackout turns, his eyes burning with hate as he sees this newcomer daring to challenge his dominion over the weak and helpless. "Who are you, radiant fool?" snaps Blackout. But Silver Sun remains calm, his purpose firm. "I am the light that breaks your darkness," he replies. "Leave these people be." Blackout merely laughs and sends forth tendrils of inky blackness to ensnare his foe. The battle rages across the village, with Silver Sun's rays of light struggling against Blackout's ever expanding shadows. Again and again, Silver Sun pushes back the darkness, but Blackout's powers seem to know no end. Yet deep within, Silver Sun finds an inner light that burns ever brighter the greater the darkness grows around him. Channeling this light, he unleashes a radiant flare that banishes Blackout's shades, forcing the sorcerer to retreat. For now, the villagers cheer their savior, filling Silver Sun with hope that light will prevail. Rising back into the sky, he swears to fight Blackout and all who threaten the innocent, no matter how deep the darkness may grow. But Blackout's defeat has merely stoked his hatred of light. Returning to his lofty keep in the barren mountains, he plots to plunge the entire land into utter blackness, gathering his hideous minions, the Dark Spawn and the Batfolk. He vows to quench the radiance of Silver Sun once and for all. And so begins an epic struggle between light and dark that will determine the future of the realm. Wherever Blackout spreads his shades of suffering, there too does Silver Sun appear, banishing shadows with his undaunted rays of hope. Their battles take them across the kingdom, from towering cities to deep forests to the ashen wastes. But neither can best the other for long, for whenever one grows stronger, the other adapts to match his power. It soon becomes clear that only by striking at the source of Blackout's magic can the shadows be broken forever. Silver Sun ascends the barren mountains, determined to bring the final battle to his foe's very doorstep. As the sun sets on the mountain height, Silver Sun faces Blackout one final time. Their clash of light and dark shakes the very foundations of the world, with no certainty which will finally prevail. But even as Blackout's shadows threaten to overwhelm him, Silver Sun finds within himself a brightness born not of his armor or his powers, but of courage, hope, and sacrifice. And with this inner light, he banishes Blackout's dark magics forever. Peace returns to the realm once more, watched over by Silver Sun, now a beacon of hope against the eternal darkness within every heart. For though shadows will always remain, so too does the light within, waiting to shine forth when needed most. Episode 2. Light's defense still reeling from his first victory against Blackout, Silver Sun continued his vigil, seeking out further servants of darkness. Little did he know Blackout's retreat was merely tactical, and his next move would test the hero, like never before. With Silver Sun distracted, Blackout moved his sinister plans forward, gathering his formidable armies of shadow, the Darkspawn, the Batfolk, and ghoulish Grimwights. He launched an all-out attack on the kingdom's northern provinces. "Howling winds!" announced the coming onslaught as Blackout's hordes descended upon the villages. Silver Sun raced to meet them, streams of light erupting from his palms to push back the tide of darkness, but the enemy's numbers were endless, wave after wave crashing against Silver Sun's radiance. As the horizon filled with Blackout's monsters, Silver Sun's light flared brighter than ever before, striking down Darkspawn by the hundreds. He created a barrier of pure solar energy that no foul creature could penetrate. Though he fended off the initial assault, Silver Sun knew he could not sustain such exhausting efforts for long. Blackout's armies surrounded the barrier, hurling curses and darkened spears that were burned to ash upon contact. Seeking a respite, Silver Sun unleashed a flare of blinding radiance, temporarily scattering his foes. Racing skyward, he flew towards the kingdom in search of aid against this gathering shadow. The king's army rode forth to meet Blackout's horde, but conventional weapons proved useless against the creatures of darkness. Silver Sun hurled bolts of light from above, reinvigorating both sides as hope flared anew. The combined forces of Silver Sun and the kingdom's army battled on for days and nights without end. Though their losses mounted, Silver Sun refused to back down, for the fate of the entire realm now hung in the balance. Just as despair threatened to set in, Silver Sun summoned all the light within him and released it in a flash that obliterated Blackout's front lines. The creatures of darkness fell back at last, slinking away to brood upon this unexpected defiance of their master's will. Though victory had been won, Silver Sun knew Blackout would soon return, his shadows ever hungry to devour the light. To defend the kingdom from further threat, Silver Sun vowed never to let his light fade, becoming a fearless beacon of hope against the eternal darkness. And so, Episode 2 comes to a close with Silver Sun emerging stronger than ever. Though shadows may advance in strength and number, light will always find a way to rise again. Born anew the hearts of heroes ready to banish darkness from the world. Episode 3. Shadows gather while the kingdom celebrated Silver Sun's victory over Blackout's army. The hero knew this was only the opening move in a larger game. Scouring the countryside for signs of the sorcerer, Silver Sun found burnt villages and traces of twisted dark magic, but no sign of Blackout himself. Unseen, Blackout commanded his forces from within his towering keep in the barren mountains. Licking his wounds from the defeat, his hatred for Silver Sun now burned with an even blacker flame. Summoning his generals, Blackout vowed to extinguish the radiant fool once and for all. Spreading his wings of tattered darkness, the grim commander flew forth to gather recruits for Blackout's army. On the Isle of Lost Souls, he found an endless supply of anguished spirits, twisting them into ghost warriors bent on vengeance against the living. In distant caverns, the dark dwarves were awoken from their millennia of slumber, greedily forging black arms and armor. And in the forest of fear, the shadow cats were coaxed from their hiding, salivating at the chance for bloodshed. As Blackout's hordes swelled in number, loyal servants brought him dark relics from across the land. Taken together, the sword Black Fog and the orb Mists of Madness would grant him power to destroy even the brightest light. But still Blackout raged, unsatisfied. Only by crushing Silver Sun's spirit could he claim victory. Summoning the diabolists of the fallen temple, Blackout offered them sacrifices of burned children. If only they could devise a way to snuff out hope itself. As his forces gathered and his magics grew ever blacker, Blackout sensed Silver Sun's light shining out against the darkness. "Not for long," he snarled. "Soon all the realm would know only endless night, and Blackout would reign unchallenged. Forever! The shadows are gathering for a confrontation that will test Silver Sun like never before." Will his inner light prove strong enough to triumph over Blackout's darkest arts? Episode 4 will reveal the climactic clash between hope and despair, light and darkness, as the fate of the realm hangs in the balance. Episode 4. Shadow clash as Blackout's armies amassed and his dark rituals reached their apex. Silver Sun could delay no longer. Flying swiftly to the barren mountains, he confronted the sorcerer within the gates of his keep. "Your shadows are ended, Blackout," declared Silver Sun. But Blackout merely sneered. "My shadows have only begun," he hissed, sending a tide of pure blackness crashing towards his foe. Silver Sun's radiance pushed back the darkness, but Blackout countered with waves of ghost warriors and dark dwarves pouring from his gates. The two forces clashed in a maelstrom of light and shadow, with Silver Sun cut off from the sky. Flinging bolts of solar energy, Silver Sun blew apart Blackout's walls, only to find swarms of shadow cats awaiting him. Their razor claws rent Silver Sun's armor until he blasted them with a flare that set the very air aflame. Just as victory seemed within grasp, Blackout brandished Black Fog and Mists of Madness, enhancing his powers 1,000-fold. Snuffing out all light around him, Blackout reached into Silver Sun's very spirit, seeking to drain the hope within. Yet even in the deepest darkness, Silver Sun's inner light refused to fade. Drawing on wells of courage he did not know he possessed, Silver Sun banished Blackout's evil magic, his radiance now burning brighter than ever before. Blackout howled in rage and despair, calling upon his final reserves. But Silver Sun met shadow with light, hate with hope, fear with courage, cleansing Blackout's twisted essence until only a broken shell remained. The shadows had been beaten back, for now. Though Blackout's threat still lingered, Silver Sun had proved that light will always triumph when matched with resolute spirit. Hope still shone in the hearts with resolute spirit. Hope still shone in the hearts of champions ready to rise against any darkness. And with that realization, Silver Sun rose into the sky. His light destined to spread, his story only beginning within the omniverse. For wherever evil stalks the land, heroes will be there. To meet it, the rising light cannot be extinguished. Episode 5. Light among shadows as Blackout's defeat at his hands spread across the kingdom. Silver Sun was heralded as a hero who had banished the darkness for generations to come. The kingdom hosted a grand celebration in Silver Sun's honor, showering him with gifts and praise. But Silver Sun remained solemn, for he knew Blackout's malice still lingered, even if his physical form had been broken. Though darkness had been beaten back, it would return again in some new guise. Evil was like a whisper in the night, ever present even in the brightest of lights. Leaving the celebration behind, Silver Sun took to the skies once more. He had tasted the bitterness of hatred and seen how easily light could fall to shadow. Now more than ever, hope needed a champion to stand against tyranny and oppression wherever it arose. And so, Silver Sun began wandering the realm, going where his light was needed most. In downtrodden villages he brought comfort, in broken hearts he inspired courage, and to the lost he offered guidance back to the path of truth. Though he possessed great power, Silver Sun came to realize his greatest weapon was not radiance, but empathy. Only by understanding another's darkness could he offer the light they needed most. Time and again he faced cruelty, greed, and violence, and time and again he met them with compassion. Blackout's dark shadow did return, though in different guises. Despots and warlords sought to claim territory with clenched fists, while cults of hatred plotted in secret to spread fear and division. But wherever shadows gathered, there too did Silver Sun's light shine, reminding all that hope remained, though his battles would never end. For darkness was part of human nature itself. Silver Sun's story had only begun. His light would spread across the realm, bringing hope to the hopeless, courage to the afraid, and clarity to those lost in shadows of their own making. For light does not seek to destroy darkness, but simply to shine. And where there is light, even the smallest of lights, darkness must fade away. Such is the eternal promise of heroes like Silver Sun, rising to meet the shadows, armed with nothing but hope in the human spirit. Episode 6. Shadows reach as Silver Sun continued his wandering, aiding those in need of light against darkness. Word of his deeds began to spread across the realm. In faraway kingdoms, people heard tales of a glowing champion who healed broken hearts and banished evil with his rays of hope. Yet not all who heard these stories were filled with joy. In the kingdom of Ashvale, a tyrant king seethed at the thought of one who possessed powers rivaling his own. Brother Shade, as this king was known, had lived for centuries by feeding on the darkness in men's hearts. The existence of Silver Sun threatened his dominion. Summoning his court of shadow mages and assassins, Brother Shade commanded them to slay this upstart ray of light. Meanwhile, he poured dark enchantments into a ring known as the Tyrant's Bane, imbuing it with the power to nullify even the brightest of light. As Silver Sun entered Ashvale to aid a village subjected to Brother Shade's cruel rule, ensnaring shadows reached out from every corner. Narrowly escaping assassination attempts and traps, Silver Sun confronted a knight bearing the Tyrant's Bane. But though the ring absorbed much of Silver Sun's light, he shone all the brighter for it. Drawing upon inner wells of courage and hope, Silver Sun banished the night and his shadows with a flare of radiance undimmed. Hearing of this failure, Brother Shade flew into a rage. Marching his army out from Ashvale's gates, he swore to extinguish Silver Sun's light once and for all. But Silver Sun would not be cowed. Facing this tyrant's legions, he shone with the promise that darkness, no matter how deep, can never ultimately triumph over the human spirit. The coming battle may test Silver Sun like none before. Yet win or lose, his story has only begun. For wherever evil stalks the land, hope rises to meet it. The rising light cannot be extinguished. Episode 7. Darkest before dawn, the army of Ashvale marched across the countryside, burning villages and crushing all who opposed Brother Shade's tyrannical rule. Hearing of this tragedy, Silver Sun flew towards Ashvale in hopes of bringing his light to those suffering under the darkness. But Brother Shade lay in wait. Black mages and shadow knights ambushed Silver Sun at every turn, seeking to wear him down before the coming confrontation. Though Silver Sun's light banished many attackers, there seemed no end to Brother Shade's forces as they drew him ever closer to Ashvale's gates. Reaching the city, Silver Sun found a once proud kingdom now mired in fear and oppression. The people hid in their homes, too broken by centuries of tyranny to even hope for reprieve. As midnight approached, Silver Sun steeled himself for the final battle to come. The castle gates swung open, and an army of nightmare marched forth, abominations twisted by Brother Shade's dark magic, thirsting for the light of any who opposed their master. Leading the horde was Brother Shade himself, radiating malice as he prepared to snuff out the one who threatened his dominion. Silver Sun unleashed the full force of his light, incinerating scores of monsters with beams of raw solar energy. But no matter how many fell, more emerged from the shadows to take their place. Claw and fang tore at Silver Sun's armor as he fought on, hope flickering that his light might yet prevail. Just as Silver Sun's energy began to wane, a distant chant arose from the city. The people of Ashvale, finding courage in their champion, stood upon their walls and sung a hymn of hope and defiance against the darkness. Their song reinvigorated Silver Sun, who unleashed a final flare of radiance that banished all shadows from the land. Brother Shade flew into a rage, charging at Silver Sun himself. But the hero met hatred with compassion, darkness with light. His radiance cleansed Brother Shade until only a weary old man remained, finally freed from the chains of his own tyranny. The battle had been won, and dawn broke over a kingdom finally awakening from its long torment. Though shadows would return, Silver Sun had shown the power of light to triumph when hope rises in the hearts of those ready to banish darkness forever. Episode 8. Light's reach as news of Silver Sun's victory over Brother Shade spread across the realm. Many rejoiced that a champion of light had arisen to banish the darkness. But there were some who viewed Silver Sun's power with suspicion and fear rather than hope. In a distant mountain realm, the Winter King brooded upon the rumors of this Silver Sun. Believing power should belong to him alone, the Winter King began marshaling his frost armies to march against this upstart hero. Hearing of the Winter King's aggression, Silver Sun journeyed to the mountains, seeking peaceful resolution. But the Winter King would not be dissuaded, accusing Silver Sun of threatening his dominion through deception and trickery. The Winter King's soldiers attacked, launching icy barrages that Silver Sun's light struggled to penetrate. But Silver Sun fought only to defend, refusing to strike against those missiled by fear and jealousy. Though Silver Sun's restraint drew the sympathy of some in the Winter King's army, it only stoked their ruler's fury further. Ordering his frost titans to destroy this false light, the Winter King himself entered the fray. Yet, for all his power, the Winter King's ice and snow were no match for Silver Sun's rays of hope. Gradually, the hero's radiance melted the Frost King's armor and softened his hardened heart. Seeing this, the Winter King at last realized the truth, that Silver Sun's light shone only to banish darkness, not to conquer or lay claim to power. Silver Sun offered his hand in friendship, an olive branch against divisions born of mistrust and ignorance. Humbled, the Winter King accepted, and a tenuous peace was forged between their two realms. Though shadows still lingered, Silver Sun's story had shown that light, when met with compassion and wisdom, could touch even the coldest of hearts. For wherever there is darkness, Silver Sun's rays of hope will reach, melting ice, softening stone, and warming hearts with the promise of a better dawn. Episode 9. Hope reborn as Silver Sun's light continued to spread across the realm. More and more evil forces were drawn out from the shadows. From the volcanic islands of the Crackspawn to the enchanted forests of the Night Witches, darkness manifested in many forms, seeking to snuff out hope wherever it arose. Yet each threat Silver Sun faced only strengthened his resolve to shine his light upon the world. Though battles were fought and losses suffered, his hope in the human spirit endured. He knew that for every heart filled with hatred, 10 more yearned for justice. For every tyrant who grasped for power, thousands aspired toward noble purpose. This gave Silver Sun the wisdom to temper his light with compassion. Again and again he faced down enemies, only to disarm them with mercy and forgiveness. His rays of hope did not seek to destroy, but uplift, revealing the potential for good still latent within every soul. Silver Sun's story spread far and wide, a beacon of light in dark times. Though evil would never be destroyed, so too would hope never be extinguished. For as long darkness endured, so too would heroes arise to match it. The rising light truly could not be stopped. And so episode 9 comes to a close, with Silver Sun's legend only beginning. For wherever fear and oppression threaten to spread their shadows, there too will champions of light rise up to banish them, armed with nothing but hope in the human spirit. This truth is the real source of Silver Sun's power, and the foundation for all the tales yet to be told within Jabe's Omniverse. For where there is darkness, light will also be, born anew in the hearts of heroes ready to face any threat that seeks to conquer them. The rising light cannot be extinguished. Episode 10, Hope Undying. As Silver Sun's story spread across the realm, more and more hearts found hope in his example. Those oppressed by tyranny drew courage from his defiance against darkness, while the lonely and fearful took comfort in the knowledge that light still shone. But not all who heard Silver Sun's tale were filled with joy. In the shadows, plots were laid to snuff out this radiant beacon before it could overwhelm the darkness completely. Forces of evil gathered in secret, vowing to destroy the one hero who threatened to bring dawn to their eternal night. Led by the ancient witch Nightshade, an army of wicked mages, twisted werewolves, and demonic hobgoblins gathered beneath the cursed mountain dragon's claw. There, Nightshade conjured a spear soaked in the blood of innocent children. The only weapon, she claimed, that could pierce the armor of hope itself. When Silver Sun's light found Dragon's Claw, he was swiftly ambushed. Though he blasted many villains to ashes, the sheer number of foes swarmed over him, binding him with dark chains. Nightshade prepared to thrust the cursed spear into Silver Sun's heart. But even at death's door, Silver Sun's hope refused to fade. Drawing on wells of courage he did not know he possessed, Silver Sun unleashed a beacon of radiance so bright it incinerated the spear and blasted his foes away. His light had grown so strong that not even death itself could extinguish it. The battle was won, and Silver Sun's legend grew. For wherever evil threatens, hope arises to meet it. The rising light truly cannot be stopped. His journey had only begun.